Hi, folks. This is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. Well, I spent a day, and it was yesterday, so it's really fresh in my memory. I spent a day on one of my favorite backwaters, fishing for bass and pike. And my memories now of that day are starting to expand into other things. And I can come home and I can tell stories. And seldom do I tell about, oh, we caught this many or this big a fish. What I can remember is the sounds around me yesterday. There were so many birds in the forest, and it seemed like each one of them had a different voice. There was something going on, and I think most of what I was hearing were crows, but each crow had a different inflection, a different pitch. Some had a higher voice, some lower, but I think they were speaking different languages. But it was a danger call, I believe. Oh my goodness, the sounds were unbelievable. When we're thinking, what is it that has alarmed them? Is it an eagle nearby? One time, Rust and I were fishing in another pond, and all the birds all of a sudden got almost in a state of torment. And we were wondering what had happened. When we went back through the woods, we'd seen a bear had just walked through there. So something was going on in the woods. A little bit later, we're looking down the shoreline. I said, look at that barren tree. That tree it had no leaves on it. It was a type of tree that eagles like to sit in. And I said, look at that bird sitting there. What is it? It doesn't look like an eagle. And we got closer. We thought, well, maybe it was a buzzard. No, it's not sitting quite the same. It's not moving. We finally get close enough where we look, and underneath on its breast was white. And Russ said, I think it's an osprey, but it's sitting different than normal. And was that what was alarming all the birds? I don't know. But there was certainly danger in the woods, a world around us that we never really enter. And by going fishing in that pond, there were so many wonderful things that happened. Let me tell you one other thing that we saw, that will live with us forever. We got back in this little bay, and we were trying to catch bass. And Russ kept saying to me, he says, look, they're on the point. And it was all brushy and so forth. He says, is that a bird sitting there on the point? And I said, it looks awful big to be a bird. He said, it looks like a goose. And I said, Russ, I think it's part of a stump or something that's shaped. And we can make anything look like something we want it to look like if it's from a distance. And he said, it just looks like a bird. And I kept saying, I know. But then finally he said, Don, I know that's a bird. I think it's a goose. Look at its head. And I kept looking. I said, I don't think that's a head. I think that's a branch that's shaped like a head. Anyway, we get closer. We start to go around. And I said, Rust, its head just moved. It is something alive. It is a bird. And he says, well, it's a goose. But he said, why would it be sitting on a nest right now when you've seen all the geese have hatched? I said, I don't know. Maybe they do it in stages. Maybe some geese mate earlier than other geese and so forth. I don't know. We get a little closer, and he said, look at the back feathers on that. That's not a goose. That's a loon. And it was this loon that was sitting on its nest. Now, loons are the face of the great north, where it's true wilderness. You don't see loons around people as much. They've always been sort of a symbol of getting to the far north. And this loon was just sitting there, and then it noticed us. And it started its techniques of making itself invisible. It slunk its head way down, and its body sprawled, almost like we laid down and did a spread eagle on the ground. And it was so fascinating to watch what it was doing. And as we gave it space and went around the point and got to the other side and we looked back, Russ said, you wouldn't even know there was a bird there. Look at what it's done to camouflage itself. And it was truly amazing to see this loon now that appeared to not even be there on the nest. It had sprawled, and its head was way down on the ground. But every now and then you'd see it kind of wiggle its head around to see if we were looking. It was just an amazing part of the day. And yeah, we had great fishing. We caught some wonderful bass. But the camouflage loon is what will linger in my mind forever. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.